Assalamualaikum and a very good day to all presenters and audience. I am L. Sharmin Haini binti Zainan. I'm a student teacher from IPG Campus Bahasa Asrabangsa. So today I'll be presenting my research, which is the effectiveness of incorporating classical background music to improve intermediate year 6 pupils' concentration during writing task production in one of the primary national schools in Kuala Lumpur. So how do I get the idea of this research? So I found out that there are learning issues among my pupils during my practicum experiences, such as number one, they were showing signs of reaching saturation point, such as refusing to do cognitive tasks. Number two, they were moving less and slower during the task, and also they were giving low spirited responses. All of this happens when it is at the end of the period, at the last period. And then number two, they were taking a longer time to work on writing tasks. And number three, they were not paying attention to the task even during independent working time. So from all these three learning issues, uh, actually, uh, during my practicum experience, I entered a class as a relief teacher, and those pupils were lifeless, and that they were not interested to do the tasks left by the teacher. So I played some songs, and immediately they became energetic, and eventually most of them able to submit their finished work to me. So from here, I am interested to research more about the effectiveness of background music to improve pupils' concentration. So I found out that there are few previous findings, previous research that background music does enhance the learning environment of the class and able to lift up pupils' mood and concentration during lessons. So from that, I went straight away to form my research question and research objective. So I want to know how effective is incorporating classical background music in writing task production among the participants in terms of concentration. And also, I wanted to investigate the effectiveness of incorporating classical background music to improve intermediate year 6 pupils' concentration during writing task production in one of the primary national schools in Kuala Lumpur. So after forming the research question and research objective, I straight away try to find out the past research. So there is this limited capacity theory by Kahneman. It says that human had a limited mental capacity to provide attention and concentration in order to perform cognitive and information processing tasks. So um, the amount of attention to be divided to these cognitive tasks depends heavily on the demand of each single activity performed in isolation. So from this limited capacity theory, I wonder, would background music interferes the division of attention capacity towards the cognitive task? And also I wonder, would it instead help to improve the pupil's attention and concentration capacity? So I tried to search more about using classical background music to improve concentration during writing task production. And then there's a research done by Zen Georgi in 2015 shows that pop music showed a greater increase of reading test score compared to classical music. And it says that it may act as a helpful motivator as pupils enjoy the lyrics while doing their during reading work. However, in 1989, as cited in Griffin 2006, it says that lyrics in pop music can be a distraction to the pupils, especially when they were doing tasks that involves visually presented material. So I took note of that. And then I've tried to search more about Mozart effect. So Mozart composed classical music, and it says that a Mozart effect is how it's able to improve a short-term ability to perform reasoning skill after listening to Mozart's music for 10 minutes. However, further research have proven that Mozart effect had no significant effect on student achievement. But then there's a little bit contrast where it says that light classical music is able to calm pupils' emotion as it can retain concentration while doing reading tasks. So all of this contrast and everything I am more interested to research more about the effectiveness of classical music. And then before that, I tried to find out what is learning concentration. So I found this research done by Godwin and the team. So it defines that signs of concentrating was when pupils' eye gazes were focused to the teacher or the task or learning materials. And the team also suggested there were 6 categories of off-task behavior: self-distraction, peer distraction, environmental distraction, supplies, walking, and others. So from this off-task behavior, I use this in my observation checklist for my research. So this is my research methodology. The sample is actually a year 6 learner from a national primary school in Kuala Lumpur, and she has a good online learning facility and strong internet connection because I did this research interactions during the COVID-19 pandemic. And then there are 4 instruments that I use, which is descriptive observation checklist, where I put all the off-task behavior and found out if she did any of the off-task behavior. And then there's the music preference questionnaire, pre and post intervention survey, and the last one is the follow-up interview. So these are the procedures. First of all, in the introduction week, I collect data, I explain the procedures to the pupils, and then there comes the 4 interactions by week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. I did all of the collection data through observation, document analysis of the worksheet, surveys, and then I form follow-up interview questions, and then the one is I do follow-up interview. Last but not least, analyze and synthesis of findings. So what are the findings? As you can see here, this is the findings from the questionnaire. And then this is the findings from the observations. So from these two, I've sum up that classical music reduces off-task behavior. And then this is the findings from the observation. It shows that Jen has spent the longest time to complete the writing task during the day when there is no intervention applied, where in interaction 2, 3, whereas she spends shorter time to complete the writing task when there is intervention applied. So classical music shortened the duration to complete the writing task. And then how about the findings from the worksheet? As you can see from here, Jen had mostly scored lower than the first interaction. See, the first interaction is 13 marks, but then during the 3rd week and the 4th week, she scored lower, which means that classical music has no significant influence to improve the writing task scores. And then this is the findings from the pre and post surveys. So you can read that. And then also I sum up that classical music makes the participant concentrate and feel calm while doing the writing task. And last but not least, these are the findings from the follow-up interview that I did with Jen. And then to sum up from the interview, I found out that music makes studying less boring. And for her, she believed that classical music enhanced the learning atmosphere in a peaceful and relaxing manner, and the motivation also boosted. But however, she said she was having a less concentration when the question is challenging. So from all of the findings, I conclude that incorporating classical background music is effective to improve intermediate pupils' concentration during writing task production to a certain extent, which means pupils show less off-task behavior due to the calming factor of classical background music, and it also improves the duration to complete the writing task. However, the effectiveness of the classical background music had delimited to improve the writing task score. Simply to say that classical background music is effective to reduce off-task behavior, and it also able to shorten the duration for the pupil to complete the writing task. However, it does not improve pupils' ability to score higher in the writing task work. So that's all from me. Thank you. Do you have any questions? You may ask me. Thank you.